After a month of struggling with toxic air, now Delhi's primary water source is turning toxic as well. Reports and visuals that you can see on air at the moment of toxic froth have flooded the internet and are causing quite a stir, where opposition parties are having a field day at the cost of the government. The Delhi Jal Shakti Minister Somnath Bharti has asserted that the froth is quote-unquote absolutely harmless. Who do the politicians think they are fooling here? First they bickered over Delhi's air quality, now they bicker over the quality of water. Are the people of Delhi the sore losers in this entire situation? Joining us on the broadcast are some very special guests to discuss more on this. Mr. Sankalp Suman, he is an environmentalist, and also joining us is Dr. Chitra Anand, the dermatologist. Before I go across to the guests joining us, I'd just like my viewers to take in what exactly they are seeing on their screens at this point. That is the Yamuna River. The river that we've been probably seeing our whole lives, at least those who've been living in Delhi, those living across the country, you might have read about it in your textbooks since you were young children. That idea of that beautiful blue Yamuna is very different from this reality that you can see toxic froth on the river, covering the entire river, and you can see people who are celebrating at the moment. They were celebrating Chhat Puja and they are still going and sitting in the midst of all of this pollution. Two-pronged pollution, pollution from the air, pollution also as far as the water that we are drinking. Now this poses a lot of health hazards, and I'd like to go to Dr. Chitra Anand, who's a dermatologist. Ma'am, one of the key issues is the fact that skin allergies are caused and are aggravated because of this. What can you tell our viewers about this? What information can you give them?
You know, whenever there is pollution in water, it means that it has toxins, it has heavy metals, etc. Now, this is something that the skin is not used to. So it first is going to irritate the skin. So it leads to irritation of the skin. Whenever irritation of the skin happens, there's what we call as an inflammatory situation. So you can have allergies, you can have rashes, you can have breakouts, hives, etc. Now, people, the younger population who have acne-prone skin will see that they'll have more breakouts of pimples or acne, as we call it. Also, these kind of toxins in the water will lead to dryness of the skin, dehydration of the skin, which will actually break down the skin barrier that we have, which is a protective barrier or a protective mechanism in our skin. And when this barrier breaks down, it actually allows the skin to lose more moisture and more water, which in turn can aggravate conditions like eczema if somebody is eczema prone and lead to extreme dryness. Also, if people have already inherent skin conditions, right, like if they have psoriasis or seborrheic dermatitis, etc., these different skin conditions, they will all get aggravated whenever they're exposed to polluted water. So these are the common pollutant related problems that we see in skin. But along with this, we can also see that infection can be on the rise, right? It can be bacterial infection, it can be fungal infection. And a lot of times during these puja times, people were walking bare feet, etc. They can have small scratches on their feet or on their legs, etc. And when you get exposed to polluted water, this can lead to this kind of irritation.
Indeed, and that's not all, but also as far as other health issues are concerned. I was discussing with Dr. Gilada in the morning, and Dr. Gilada is also joining us on the broadcast at the moment. We were of course discussing the fact that gastrointestinal problems can get aggravated during this point of time. People are still not paying heed to the warnings. They're still going out to the river Yamuna because of its holy significance. But how crucial would you sort of advise at this point is to refrain from going around and even touching the river water, because it is so polluted at this point?
Thank you very much for having me on the show. I would like to appraise your viewers that Yamuna's only 2% part goes through Delhi, and Delhi pollutes 70% of Yamuna. So that is a magnanimity of pollution which is contributed by Delhi to Yamuna. We call Yamuna Mata or Yamuna Devi, and that is goddess. Secondly, Yamuna mythologically is considered as a sister of Yamdut. Yamdut is a god of death, and I think currently it is acting as a really sister of Yamdut, supporting Yamdut in a way, because what Dr. Chaitra described is the only skin condition, external problems. But internally, you can imagine that they contain a lot of toxins, they contain a lot of ammonia, phosphates, surfactants, and there are a lot of agents which are environmentally degrading agents. There are a lot of agents which are chemicals. There are a lot of allergens. There are a lot of infectious organisms, because you can imagine that almost 58% of the Delhi's drain is going in Yamuna. So if all the drain is going in Yamuna, that means what you are urinating or forgetting, that is all going in Yamuna. So it has become a very, very dirty river, and this is described as one of the most polluted rivers globally, not only in India. I think under this situation, I don't know what is happening for last 20, 30 years. I used to see River Yamuna as a child, and it used to be a blue, serene water. That is gone. Secondly, our people have blind faith. They don't understand one thing, that what they are going to do as a ritual, it is not only adding to the pollution of this river, but it is giving them a problem. And that problem, again, they will have to go to doctors and get it solved. And sometimes the problem may be solved, sometimes may not be solved. There are people who are regularly in touch with this kind of water. They also can get carcinogens, they can get cancers from chemicals. So I think onus lies not only on only governments, it is also on individuals and society. We have a annual ritual every year. We discuss this as soon as Chhat Puja is going on or is over, and same thing is seen. So I think you people don't have to even shoot any kind of new footage. You can show any old footage and that will match with this footage. Probably this is worse than that. So I think in that kind of scenario, and I was amazed to see one of the quotes of a very senior official from Pollution Control Board saying that it is safe, it is nothing unsafe. Please, if it is safe, please consume the same water. Please use the same water for bath every day. Don't fool around people. If at all you say that it's a safe, show us the report, analytical report, that this is a safe water. How can people fool around with this kind of visual saying that this is safe water? So I think we have become very callous. We have become very much less amenable to the human lives, and we want to see any kind of harm is done to human being, and we say no, it's safe. Don't worry.
Yes, we should exercise more caution as individuals also. But before I rope in Mr. Sankalp, someone who's been waiting very patiently with us, I'd like to go across to my colleague Arzu Seth. She's joining us live from near Yamuna River. Arzu, what's the situation like on the ground? Can you show our viewers what can you see at the moment?
Well, absolutely, Pia, the Delhi people has already battling with the air pollution, and now what we are seeing that from past few days, the water pollution has also increased. The Yamuna has become dirty and toxic. In fact, right now we are at the ITO, and here if you see, you can't see the toxic form that you usually see at the Kalindi Kuj, but the dirtiness, the things that have been, thrown here at the Yamuna River is very saddening to see the holy river like this. In fact, the visuals that have came from the Kalindi Kuj, the thick layer of foam can clearly be seen. In fact, the politics have also intensified, where the Shehzad Poonawalla, the spokesperson of the Bharatiya Janata Party, in fact said that the crores of rupees had been spent by the Delhi government on the advertisement, but nothing has been done to clean the Yamuna River. And in fact, this is the toxic form that we are seeing on the Yamuna River is not only harmful for the humans, because it is leading to the various skin problem, the respiratory problem, but also, very dangerous for the aquatic animals that are, there in the Yamuna River. So this is very saddening and disappointing to see the holy river like this. In fact, we also saw, and this come into the limelight at the time when, the festivals come, when the devotees reach to the Yamuna River to worship. We have seen the visuals where the devotees are standing in a deep knee Yamuna River full of the foam, toxic foam, and they are, forced to do that because, they worship the Yamuna river. They treat it as a mother, and they say that, and they say, in fact, the devotees have said that they treat it as their mother and they will accept it as it is. But it's the responsibility, in fact, of the government. We will raise question from the government, and why from several years we are seeing such situation of the Yamuna river, and it still remains the same every year we come too close to it. Yes.
All right, Arzu, I'd like to thank you for joining us and showing us what it looks like near ITO particularly, and thanks for pointing out also regarding the visuals that are coming in, especially from Kalindi Kunj. Meanwhile, I'd like to rope in Mr. Sankalp Suman, sir. Thank you for joining us on the broadcast. At this point, this is something that happens year after year after year. It's a double whammy for the citizens of the national capital: polluted air, polluted water. So what can be done at this point? Because it seems that the netas are only bickering. They're just mudslinging and pointing fingers at each other. Meanwhile, the Aam Aadmi, that is the common person, is genuinely suffering. And this is not a one-off. It happens every year, and we are aware that the situation will crop up time and again. But things are not being done in an adequate manner to address these problems that we all are aware of.
Absolutely right, and let me just start there. What point is it to have governments in place to pay so many taxes? I'm paying taxes for the first time in my life. I just want to ask, what point is there for me to pay so much taxes if my government cannot provide me basic amenities like clean air and clean water? This is not a new problem. This is not an unsolvable problem. You look at the example of Thames in London, and the kind of work they have done in creating a fresh ecosystem in that highly polluted river and rejuvenating it completely. There are examples from across the world of governments working in favor of their citizens, creating. This is the most basic thing. We should not even be asking for it. This is that basic, whether it is clean air or clean water. But our ministers or our elected officials have the gall to say that there's nothing wrong with the Yamuna water. I invite Mr. Bhati to come take a sip of the Yamuna and probably keep drinking from it, and then maybe he will find out how much is wrong or how much is not wrong from it. It's just appalling. And as a Bihari from by origin, I must say that culturally Chhat Puja plays a huge role in my society. My grandmother fasts for almost 3 days without food and water. That's how much sacrifice comes in celebrating Chhat Puja. So it's not their fault. They're already sacrificing quite a lot, so they would like to do it properly. And if the government is interfering with so many traditional traditions of my community, it's just appalling. And to top it all off by saying okay, nothing is wrong is just adding insult to injury. What can be done? If the Delhi government thinks the pollution is coming from Haryana and Uttar Pradesh, I invite the Delhi government to go and sue the governments of Haryana and Uttar Pradesh on behalf of the people of Delhi. And if it is vice versa, I invite them to do that also. Let this matter reach courts. Let there be a just trial on what is happening. And meanwhile, can we please focus on solving environmental issues? None of these problems, I repeat, none of these problems are unsolvable, whether it is the Parali burning or whether it is intoxicating Yamuna. There are examples from across the world. There are case studies and funds available for governments to take up climate action. But I have, as a young advocate, I have interacted with stakeholders in the government, and I must tell you, my honest opinion is they don't understand jack about environmental policies. We have no capacity in our politicians and policymakers to deal with problems of such scale. It's not a voting issue for people either, so there's no incentive for them to take this kind of action. We need to make this a voting issue. We need politicization of this issue. While creates a lot of negative consequences, it also needs to increase just for the sake of people coming out and voting for issues on environment. So I would stop here. But yes, it's a massacre what is happening. As a Bihari, as a Delhite, I must say I'm extremely disappointed, and this problem, I don't see it being solved for the next 10 years also. That is the state of our politics, and that's what deeply saddens me right now.
Indeed, it is time to stop bickering. It's time for the politicians to come together, for everyone, in fact, to come together, form a united action plan in order to combat this, because if it continues on and on, it's not just us, but then we might see further defects in the human beings, the young infants that are being born in the near future. That is all that I had time for to discuss this very pertinent issue, and I'd like to thank all the guests who have taken out their time to speak to us, to share their perspectives, their analysis, their advice and caution with our viewers, and here's hoping that some strict action will be taken.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.